Joining us now is the Republican congressman from the state of Florida, Greg Steube, back with us once again here on the Hill. Congressman, thanks for the time.
Yeah, anytime.
So let's just go broad here for a second, right? Because this is in the hands of the Republican Party right now. And it's the party trying to preserve the Trump tax cuts, add funding for the border, and add funding for the military, right, in one phase. But then there's also Republicans who are worried about cuts to Medicaid. They are worried about, of all things, believe it or not, green energy cuts. That's come up from your side of the aisle as well. And then there's Republicans who are saying, you know what, there's not enough spending cuts. Where are you tonight?
Yeah, a lot to unpack there. Talk with you in the broad picture. We want the tax cuts. Obviously, the American people voted for that. That's why they voted for Donald Trump. They want to make those tax cuts permanent. If we don't do that, the average family of four in America will see a $3,500 increase to their taxes. Small businesses in America will see a 20% increase to their federal income taxes. That will have a huge devastating effect on our overall economy because those small businesses who employ people are going to have to make very tough decision because they're going to be spending 20% more on their federal income taxes than they are right now. So we've got to get the tax cuts done. We got to get the defense spending that we need done. And obviously, we got to secure the border. That's something that President Trump campaigned on. He won the popular vote. He won the Electoral College. He's got a mandate. And those are the type of things that we need to deliver on.
If the Senate passes this, and I don't know if there's a John McCain moment, right? You remember with repeal and replace Obamacare when he put the thumbs down at the last second. I don't know if Republicans are there tonight, Senator, but let's just say that Senate Republicans pass this. Then it becomes a real question of what you do in the House. We know of a 4:30 phone call with Mike Johnson and a lot of your colleagues. Are you confident that would pass in your chamber?
I think there's going to be a lot of discussions. Again, we don't know what this last manager's amendment is going to look like, which is going to change the bill pretty significantly. But where we're at right now, we're well below the spending cuts that the House wanted to have. We're not at the framework that the House approved. There was a bunch of us that signed a letter that said we need this framework in place to be able to be deficit neutral on the bill. So obviously we can't make any decisions until we know what that manager's amendment looks like, what the bill language looks like. But I do think you're going to have some challenges on the House side. We can only lose 3 votes. You've got 218 you got to get to. We can only lose 3. If we lose 4, the bill's dead. And you've got things in here that moderates don't like, and you've got things in here that conservatives don't like. So it is certainly going to be a challenge, but there is, and you alluded to this, there's going to be a lot of pressure from the White House to get this done. The president wants it done by July 4th so they can have a bill signing, and we need to get the tax cuts to the American people. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on House members. Look, there's things in there I don't like. There's things in there moderates don't like.
Are you good with spending, Congress?
Policy benefits the American people.
Are you good with spending, Congressman? Because I'm looking at federal debt by year, and let's show it. The blue is obviously for Democratic presidents. The red is obviously for Republican presidents. When you're talking about the national debt, Congressman, it rose by $9 trillion in the first Trump term. And I hear you say, you know, there's spending cuts in there, but that thing is going up and right as far as the eye can see, with or without this bill. So why do you support it?
Why do I support it?
Yeah. On the spending
because
front.
of the tax cuts, obviously. I mean, that's why I supported the defense spending and the border issues is why I will support it. But again, you can't make that decision until you know what all these final numbers are from the Senate and what they're going to end up doing. But this cuts $1.7 trillion from the debt. You're also going to see, because of the tariffs that Trump has put in place, I think just last week it was $26 billion to the Treasury. The economic impact that is going to come from this bill is between $2.5 to $3 trillion.
You're not concerned about
those things.
You're not concerned about $55 trillion in debt in the next decade or so, hitting that number?
Well, I'm concerned about the debt, absolutely, and that's why I signed on to the letter as to the House framework as it related to spending. I'm absolutely concerned about the debt, and we have to get that under control. And this bill helps by doing that, by cutting $1.7 trillion. It would have cut more than that. The House's bill that we sent over to the Senate would have cut more than that, but the parliamentarians struck a lot of our pieces of this bill, which cut a lot of the spending cuts.
Let me leave you with this, Congressman, because you talk about the pressure from someone else, Elon Musk. Every member, and I'm quoting here, every member of Congress who campaigned on reducing government spending and then immediately voted for the biggest debt increase in history should hang their head in shame, and they will lose their primary next year if it is the last thing I do on this earth, Elon Musk, this afternoon, how would you respond?
Well, it's interesting coming from a guy who's the wealthiest man in the world, who's made billions of dollars off U.S. government subsidies for electric vehicles. So it's certainly interesting him making those type of claims when he's made a significant amount of money off subsidies from the federal government in the form of electric vehicle subsidies. And those are the type of things that need to be cut in this bill. And actually we had a conservative response to that on the House side, and the Senate has made that worse in the sense of taking longer to pare that away. So a lot of that spending that could be cut is programs that he's benefited from.
All right, I got to leave it there. We're going to be watching, and I hope you come on back here in the upcoming days and weeks. Greg Steube is a Republican from the Sunshine State down there in Florida.
Good to see you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. You as well. All right.